Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be taking you through the pivot table in Microsoft Excel. Pivot table is yet another very important tool in Microsoft Excel that helps the user deal with the large amounts of data. If he wants to summarize it the way he wanted it, if the user would like to analyze the data, if the user would like to compare the data between two sets, like if we would like to compare the sales between two regions, comparison of sales between two product categories, or two salespeople, two branches, depending upon the kind of a data set he or she has. If the user would like to analyze the data, compare the data, group the data, or to summarize the data and create reports onto it and deliver presentation to the top management, pivot table is one of the best tools for you to make your data present in a very appropriate way. And even a kind of a basic level decisions can be easily made using pivot table. So pivot table is not only a basic tool in Microsoft Excel, it is also considered to be one of the very important analyzing tool which helps people make business level decisions also. So yes, let us quickly understand the concept of pivot table and what does pivot table include, what are the basic benefits of pivot table, and then we will consider a data set and start practicing onto it. So to take you through the further slides, pivot table, as we said, it helps you to summarize the large data sets. What does summarizing means? Let's say if you can see the image in the right side, a table in the right side, we have collected data from 43 respondents. Let's consider so. And we are trying to understand their age groups. This table speaks the age groups of the respondents. Out of these 43 respondents, majority of the respondents are falling between the age group of 60 to 69 because there are 12 respondents out of 43 who belong to this age group. How do I know this? There are 12. I did not manually count, looking at every from what does this fellow, which age group this fellow belong to. I did not count manually. I have my data collected in the form of CSV or in the form of Microsoft Excel, maybe through Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, or any of the survey taking tools I would have used. I should have collected the data, and once the data is collected, I'll apply pivot table to generate these kind of summarized tables. It will hardly take few seconds to me. So it's pretty quick and pretty easy for the user to generate summarizing tables and summarizes charts, because pivot table is not only that it create tables for your data analysis, it can also give you charts. So people can understand the data by looking at the tables, or they can visualize the data by creating charts onto that. Both of these are pretty well available in pivot table. So pivot table also helps you in organizing and grouping of the data. It helps the users analyze and identify the patterns that are hidden inside the data. And this tool also helps the users to generate reports with very minimal effort. And I could actually say no effort is required pretty much into it, because it is simple drag and drop tool wherein you need not actually write any kind of a code to do these analysis. That's the best thing in pivot table. Then moving forward, we have the major benefits. Pivot table, alongside working with data sets, we have already learned some of the tools in Microsoft Excel, like filters, sorting of the data, and basic functions in Microsoft Excel we should have already learned. But the best thing here is that as part of a pivot table, if you have to filter something, you need not close the pivot table, go back to the original data set and start applying filters. It's actually not necessary, because sorting, filtering, and some of the important functions are inbuilt within the pivot table. If you have already summarized some data and you still wanted to perform sorting onto it, or if you still want to perform filters onto it, you can easily do it within the pivot table, because all of these functions are again there as part of pivot table, and you can easily compare between two parts of the data. As we said before, comparison between two regions, comparison between two products, comparison between two product categories or comparison between two salespeople. Any kind of such data comparison can also be done, and some statistical or mathematical formulas can be applied, calculations can be performed within the pivot table on the data. So it's simple and very customized way of working things. So these calculations are not necessary that are predefined in Pivot. You will be able to perform your own calculations the way you want it. Assuming you are a user of Pivot Table in Excel, whichever the way you wanted to visualize your data, whichever the way you wanted to group and summarize your data, you can pretty well do it in Pivot Table. So that's the reason Pivot Table is considered to be a very well customized tool. So when you work with Pivot Table, assume that you have so many columns in your Microsoft Excel, and each of the columns will have associated data to it. Depending upon the way you wanted to group the data, or depending upon the way you wanted to present or summarize the data, you will have to drag and drop these columns in any of these four grids. There are four grids that you can see on my screen. Grids are named as filters, columns, rows, and values. So we will try to understand as we practice the data set, and as we practice with the data set, we will try to understand what kind of columns go in each of these grids, and based upon the requirement of you, what kind of a summarization you wanted, what kind of a grouping you wanted, you can decide to drop these variables or these columns in appropriate grids that are available here. As you drag and drop your columns in any of these grids, your data would be created automatically. Either it is a table or it could be a pivot table chart. They will be automatically created. So that makes it pretty easy for us. And we will say this as we look at the data set. Pivot table is an option that is available in Insert tab of Microsoft Excel. Once the moment you click on pivot table option, it will automatically select the entire data set that is available. If you would like to select a specific set of data which you want to analyze, you can do so, and then you start using pivot table through the fields that are available there, and it is pretty well customized. So quickly I'll take you through the sample data set that we're going to work in this particular topic. So we have order ID, date and time, region, product category, product name, units sold, and sales amount. If you look at, there are 4 different type of regions, and there are 3 different types of product categories, and 4 to 5 different types of products, units sold, and sales amount. These are the columns that I have got in Excel. Even though on screen you could only see 6 records, 10012 1006, the actual data set will have 1000 records on which we are going to perform pivot chart and pivot analysis, whatever it is. So without any delay, we should further go and try to solve these questions, 4 basic level questions, 4 intermediate level questions, and 4 advanced level questions on pivot table. So yep, this is what is pivot table is about. To sum up it, pivot table is one of the important tools in Excel that helps the user to summarize the data, to group the data, to analyze the data, and also to customize the data visualization and data tables the way the user wanted. Thank you. We will quickly start the next video wherein we will try to hands-on with pivot table and actually see how pivot table is used. Thank you.